Hello and welcome to our Illustrator challenge. I'm Andrew Hochradel and today we are making a packaging display. Now there is a source file link down in the description. If you are watching the live stream though, it hasn't synced yet for some reason, so it will be up immediately following. Let's hop in, and if you are watching live and want to design with me, let's go ahead and build something together, right? So if you are trying to build with me right now, very easy. Let's just create this so that you don't have to wait for the source file to sync up. All you need to do is grab your rectangle tool, and we're gonna make 4 simple rectangles. And this is actually fun because I get to teach you a little hack. So we're gonna build out our 4 little rectangles right here. We'll make one and then click and drag holding Alt or Option and just turn it so that it locks up right there. And if you don't have those purple lines happening, you can go to View and turn on Smart Guides. Now we're gonna make 4 copies of that because we want 4 sides to our display. And check this out. Here's the hack that I wanna show you. There have been so many times that I need an extra little edge on something, right, that I want to fold over. When we're creating packaging displays, we wanna make sure that we have all the sides, but we also wanna make sure that we have the top that can fold over and glue to itself, or an edge, so that it is actually something that we can print, something that we can work with, and something that's gonna stay together and stable. So check this out. Here's my hack. We can zoom in here. How many times have you done this? Select one of the points and then go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Go to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I know that we've all done that a million times because that's what I usually do as a designer. But check this out. Here's a little hack is we can use the direct selection tool, grab both of these, and then use this scale tool. And the scale tool is actually going to scale just those points. So I can hit S for the scale tool and then hit enter. And then we can put it in 80%. And hit OK. And check that out. It is going to create that perspective for us of it pulling in just those sides. Super quick, super easy. And if we wanted to, we could even scale by an amount of pixels, right? So I can grab these, I can scale, hit enter, and you can do the math for, let's say we want to move it in -20 pixels. Let's see if it does that. It does the math for us. So then you can just hit OK. Pretty easy. Or you can click and drag these and then just drag in to create that perfect perspective. Easy little hack. So if you want to work with me or you're trying to build this on your own, that's the way that we can do it. But for now, we are going to go right here and work on our packaging setup. Now I'm going to show you a couple things in this lesson. I'm going to show you how to use Adobe Stock, how to find color, and how to make a 3D mockup of our display. So the first thing I want to do is let's just go ahead and drop a title on here. And what I'm gonna do is I am going to pick a candle. I think that I wanna be selling candles. Actually, let's sell pumpkins. Let's make a display for pumpkins. I'm feeling fall vibes today. So we are going to type in plump pumpkins. Pumpkins. There we go. I'm gonna find a nice font for this. Let's use Urbane Heavy right here. Scale that up. And I'm thinking through where this is going to display, right? This will be the front, this will be the right side, left side, and this will be the back, right? So you have to think mentally how it's going to wrap around. So we have our plump pumpkins, which I think is really fun on the front. And then maybe we want to put the price, and that's just going to be 99 cents. 0.99. Actually, I'll show you something else here. So let's do 99 cents is we want 99, but we want to add in the cents. If you don't know how to do a cent symbol, you can come up to type and then open up glyphs. And this will show you every single glyph that is in this font. So we can scroll down here where the money is and we find the cent symbol and we double click and it will put it in there for us. So if you're missing something, it's usually in the glyphs panel. So I'm going to come here, hit Control T, and then I'm just gonna use the touch type tool, which allows me to select just this C. Oops. And then scale it down. So let's scale it down right there, and then click and drag to move it up right there. And that's using the touch type tool so that we don't have to do any individual adjustments. So we're gonna do 99 cents on those. What a great deal. And then we'll have some art down here, I think. So let's go find a nice kind of fall palette. Yeah, let's find a nice fall palette. I was trying to maybe take you somewhere else. Coming over here, we can go to color.adobe.com. So color.adobe.com. And this is going to be a place where we can explore trends. So we can look at trends. Let's go to the Explore tab for now, and then type in pumpkin. Pumpkin. There we go. I forgot how pumpkin worked. These colors are really fun. I actually like this pumpkin, but then also some darker vibes. So all I'm going to do is add to library, and that will add it automatically to my challenge library. And within seconds, I can come back to Illustrator, open my library. It will sync in a second, and open up my challenge library. Check it out. We have our pumpkin seed right there. I need to right click and go add theme to swatches. And in my swatches now I have all of my different pumpkin themes. Now I do want to add some pumpkins here and add some art. So I'm going to first of all just add in a nice backdrop. And I'm going to pull that backdrop all the way across just to add a color in and use, of course, this nice little orange. And we're sending that all the way to the back. All right, we're already getting somewhere. So let's come here and go to Adobe Stock, and we're going to type in pumpkin. So lots of great stuff here, and we are on Adobe Stock. Here's a little hack. You can go to stock.adobe.com/free, and it's going to give you all the options that are free, which is what we're going to do today. So we're going to go pumpkin right there, and it's going to give us all the free versions, but we want a vector. So I'm going to make sure that I click on vectors right here, and then those are compatible with Illustrator. I love this right here. I think will lend itself to our design. So I'm going to click on license, and it will automatically download that for me. It's actually sitting right behind this Discord, which you can't see, but the Discord is a great place to visit. You can post your work there and get some feedback. So clicking there, it will open it up for me, and I can simply click and grab this pumpkin. I'm going to Control C to copy and then paste it over here on our artboard. We're going to need to scale that down just a little bit. And our background's a little too intense, so I'm going to take that up. There we go, a little more fall vibe. So here it looks good. I actually don't like the shadow underneath it, so I'll use the direct selection to get rid of it. And we're going to bring this up a little bit. All right, and maybe our text goes to this nice little orange. Nope. Let's do blue. All right, it's not giving me all the fall vibes, but it's giving me some of the fall vibes. That actually might be better color combo. There we go. All right, that's a little bit of a better color combo. So that looks good, and maybe I want to put some kind of like swooshy swash across there, or maybe I want to grab, let's do this, some of these leaves. So I can double click into this group, and I'm simply going to click to grab all these leaves and hit Control C to copy. And then I'll come over to the side and paste them. What we're going to do real quick is we're going to create a scatter brush with these leaves. So I'm going to arrange them here into just a nice little pack. Looks pretty good. And let's move this one just over a little bit over here. And then we can select all of these leaves and go up here to our brushes. We can go to New right here and then do Scatter Brush. We hit OK. And check this out. It is going to make a full scatter, and the size we probably want to be similar, but we're going to change pretty much all of these to random. The biggest ones, we want the rotation to be all the way down and all the way up on either side. And then the spacing we can kind of play around with. The scatter we can play around with. Let's pick random numbers for now. And we can always edit this after the fact with the preview on. So the size, pretty close to what we have, maybe a little bit smaller. And we're going to hit OK. From there, you see that we have our little brush right here with our leaves. And I'm going to grab the brush tool, which is just B right there, and click and drag a little swash across. We're going to select this and apply right there our scatter brush. And there we go. We see that the settings are that it is way too crazy, but we can change that very easily by clicking right here on options of selected object. When we turn that preview on, we're able to see the problem looks like the scatter is a little bit too much. So as I pull this in, we'll see that it's actually getting closer to that line, right? That's looking a little bit better. The rotation's good. The sizing, these are a little bit too big. So I'm going to pull them down. And then we want our spacing to actually be closer. So I'm going to pull this down so that the spacing is a lot closer. All right, the scatter's still a little bit crazy. All right, let's take the spacing up a little bit. There we go. So we'll hit OK, and now we have this awesome kind of fall flurry going through our design. That looks pretty good to me. Now, something that's happening here is everything's getting a little convoluted for this to be a display, for it to be printable, right? There's a lot of pieces flying all over the place. What I want to do is make sure that I have guides, and we're going to set up guides and bleeds. So I'm going to select all those objects that I've put on my artboard already, the text, the pumpkin, the stroke. I'm going to group them together, and then we're going to make a new layer. We're going to stay organized here. And we're going to hit plus to make a new layer in our layer panel right there. And we're going to name this art. So from there, with all this selected and this layer selected, we can right click and go to arrange, send to current layer. There it is. Wanted to make sure. You see, everything turns red because this layer is marked with red. So when we turn this off, we did miss some pieces, but that's fine. We can come in here and grab these pieces still, and then come back to our art layer and right click, arrange, send to current layer. What's going on here? You know what? Let's do this. Let's just cut and paste it. So Control X, cut, go to our art layer, and then we are going to paste in place and send it to the back right there. Okay, so now that our art layer is set, I'm going to turn it off because I want all of these pieces right there. We are going to make guides that are bleeds, right? We're going to make bleeds for our object. And what we want to do is we want to make a copy of this. So again, just edit, copy, edit, paste in place. And then we're going to go to the properties panel and hit right here, unite. That's going to allow us to unite everything together in one place. So everything's united, it looks good, and what we're going to do now is we are actually going to fill this as one shape so we can see what it looks like, but go to Object, Path, Offset Path. We're going to make sure that this is 0.125 inches is usually the common, and let's do 0.25 inches right there. Even though we are in pixels, it will convert it for us, thanks to the power of Illustrator. So we're going to hit OK. And now here's what we want to do is we want to set these as guides. And what's cool is you've seen rulers that you pull out with the guides. You can actually do this with any shape. We go to View, and then we go to Make Guides, which is, I know the hotkey, but I want to show you where it is. Guides, and then Make Guides right there. Control 5 is the hotkey. So it's going to turn it to that green, and that is the space that we need to go to for our design to work, right? For it to get printed and have extra space to cut off. So I do want to go ahead and grab this shape and go path, offset path, all the way to that edge. And now we have a full object that is all the way to the back, right? If we turn our art on, you can see that none of this would have printed on the sides and we would have ended up having white on the edges. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to grab this back layer, Control X to cut, and then we are going to Control Shift V to paste. And someone in our live chat is saying, Andrew's going fast because he's on a time constraint. Yes, we have a lot to cover today. I'm fully aware, and I apologize. Hopefully you can watch the replay if it's going a little bit too fast for you. So we do have all of our pieces looking good, and I'm actually going to pull this behind so we can see where things are landing. Now, these leaves are great, but they're a little bit too much. We can right click and go to ungroup, and then I can go ahead and grab this stroke and go to Object, Expand Appearance, and that will take it from a stroke to a bunch of individual shapes. And this allows me to double click in and just start deleting some of these pieces, right? And maybe we want them to go this way so that we don't have as much on this artboard. And maybe the pumpkin we want to be a little larger and kind of just fill out these two, right? Overlap just a little bit. And let's move one of these leaves down there. Maybe this little patch of leaves can come up here, right? So something a little more even. And maybe I want our little plump pumpkins to also be over here, and maybe a price going down here. So now we have all of our sides and it's looking good, but it is still spilling over the edges. So what we can do is we can grab our art, which is our background right here, that full background that we have. And again, copy, Control C, paste, Control Shift V, and then we can grab all of these pieces that we have on our art layer, right click, and make a clipping mask. So that's clipping all these extra pieces right into our design. When we turn our layer back on, which is going to be our outlines, this is going to be our die/bleeds. Those are the technical terms. So the die is the red part, or is the black part where it's getting cut, and the bleeds is the extra space around the edge. So we're already getting there. Our plump pumpkin display is looking good. And this would be how you set it up for print. We would want to export this or send this AI file to the printer with these bleeds so that they can come in, turn them off, and have the perfect art sized well for our display. Now, we're not going to leave it at that. You know that I'm not going to leave this as a die cut what it is right here. We're going to make this 3D so we can see what it looks like. So all I need to do to make it 3D is I am going to make a rectangle that is the size of one of these pieces. So we click and drag for one of these pieces, and I'm going to drag it over to the side, and we're going to use the 3D tools. If you have been following some of these challenges, you've seen some of this 3D happening, but we are going to map this onto a 3D shape so we can see what it would look in a store or how it would wrap around the edges. So from there, we're going to go to Effect. We're going to go to 3D and Materials. And we're going to go to Extrude and Bevel. And what we want to do here with Extrude and Bevel is it's going to give us a little bit of dimension. And if things get wonky, if I start freezing, it's because we're working in 3D here and streaming at the same time. So I'm going to pull this out just to see. I'm going to get to a square pretty close right there. And that's already looking good. So what's cool is I've made the shape the same color as our background. That's what you want. You want the same color so we don't have to map as much art onto it, and we can really start to control that lighting, especially on this top piece here. So what I want to do is I'm going to grab my art. I'm going to Control C, copy, and then Control V to paste it. So we do still have that clipping mask on it. We want to remove that clipping mask for now. Actually, let's do this. Let's grab both of these just so we have the guides as well. So we're going to paste it here, and we are going to make a box rectangle that goes over all the visible area, right? And what I need to do first is delete this background color. So we're going to delete the background color. Now we have just the art, and we're going to make a rectangle over the entire visible area, right? We talked about front, back, left, right. We want to grab that whole thing and wrap it around our object. What we can do is just grab this, go all the way to the corners with that rectangle, and then we can delete these die lines. We don't need those die lines on there at all, and we can actually delete this whole background. Oopsies, I lied. We can right click, release that clipping mask, and then we can delete that shape. So with all this selected, we can right click, make a clipping mask, and now this is our visible art, right? This is the visible art that will wrap around all four sides of our object here, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It's looking good. I'm gonna change this lighting so we got a little bit more synergy right there. A little more rotation. Let's put it on top, and the height, let's go ahead and bring this right there. All right, so what we can do is we're going to grab all of our art here, right, the visible art. We're going to click and drag this over into the panel, and we are going to add graphic. Now, it's a big graphic with a lot of pieces, but what's cool is we can select our 3D and then click to apply that graphic. Plumpkins. So we can see right now the lighting is really harsh and hitting it really hard, but we can fix that in a second. So what I can do is I can click and drag. And we want to make sure, right, our plump pumpkins right there is sitting in the corner. It's a little small, so I can scale this up. Right there. All right, that is not bad. That's looking pretty good right there. So this is scaling up the circle of the map of our object, right? So that's looking pretty good, and we've got all of our pieces. So if I zoom in on this, let's go ahead and turn on a little bit of a shadow here. Let's put the shadow below the object. And then we can play around with the lighting. We can turn it diffuse, standard. I probably want it to be in the front. So we're just going to keep rotating this until right there. That looks great. The height, we want a little less of a shadow. And let's rotate it right there. Turn the intensity up. So we've got those nice colors. And already, this is looking fantastic, right? We have the nice shadows, and we have our full mockup with the die lines. We have all the die lines, all the pieces, and now we can see what it looks like in the store. And the best thing about this, check this out, is we can take this object, hold your breath, y'all. I think this is going to work, but hold your breath. We can take this object, we can open our 3D panel, and we can do different angles. So we can come here and do off-axis front, we can do off-axis back, right? That's giving us the back right here. You can see it's scaled a little bit incorrectly or a little bit differently, but that's no problem. All we need to do is go to materials, select our graphic, and then we can scale just a little bit up and then move it on our design to make sure that we can see the back. We'll also need to change the lighting because it has kept that lighting when we reversed it, and we want that lighting to be a little bit different. So we're going to rotate that lighting all the way around to the edge right there. We want it the other way, right there. And that already is looking pretty close to what we have on that side. So we have the front and the back right there. And what's cool is if you want to, everyone's telling me to save. Never. I want you to save. I won't do it. So all you need to do is play around with those lightings and play around with those different angles. Now, if you wanted to do a cool thing that I've seen people do with like bottles and boxes. So this could be a box for a pumpkin. This could be a box for a candle. And what you could do is actually turn off these shadows. Whoa, that ruined all of our lighting. Go ahead and reset that lighting so it looks fine. Heights there, rotation, sure, let's do that. But what we can do is we can rotate freeform and maybe do like a cool version that shows both sides, right? So make a copy of it holding Alt or Option and then flip it around so we can see the back side of this design as well, right? And maybe it flies the opposite way so there's some contrast. And then we want to send this to the back, right? Arrange, send to back. Let's fix the lighting on here because it got pretty crazy. Whenever you move it, the lighting moves with it as well. So that's why there's so much that we're having to do with the lighting to make sure that it is looking good. Let's see, I want to pull this all the way the other way. Why won't we pull the lighting all the way across? The height, intensity, right there. I want the lighting to go to the other side. I'm not sure why we're losing the lighting, right? Not sure what's going on there, but maybe we want two of them, oops, that are flying in kind of opposite directions. Let's rotate this way and then rotate this way a little bit. Oops. Hooray! So now we've got two of these at different angles, a little bit more this way, a little bit more that way. I'm just having a bad time trying to grab this right now. All right, so that looks fine, not great. But you can kind of work to create your own design and maybe create them overlapping so you've got this really cool 3D display. And what I want you to do is right over there, bit.ly/AI Discord. This source file will be synced for you in like 3 minutes after this stream if you're watching live. If you're watching the replay, it's down in the description and it is working. But right here, you can do a full mock-up of your bleeds, of all the die cut, and then also take a screenshot of these 3D mockups, right? You can do all of it here in Illustrator, super easy, super quick, and join that Discord to let me see what you create and maybe explore maybe winter vibes. Maybe, I think we're into fall. Do fall vibes. See if you can do some plump pumpkins or something else. It's really fun. Whatever you want to do, there's no wrong answers in design, just different ones. So I'd love to see your perspective and what you create. Thanks for joining me here every day, 11:30 a.m. behance.net/Adobe Live. We're live with great content for you so you can learn and level up your creative skills. I'll see you again for another stream at another time, and I'll see you in Discord. Bye.